just wants to be upside down for some reason.
I could try standing on my head.
Oh, for goodness sake. Hang on, everybody. Yeah, I know. You're just having a fit. Actually, can you point that at something? So, or point it at you while I get this thing turned
There's
off.
Duchess. Everybody enjoy Duchess for a moment. And it's pointing, at Duchess. I'll do it that way.
Okay.
All right.
Try and put it in the stabilizer while it won't.
This is where I will be absolutely no help. When it comes to technology, I'm the kind of person, if I look at it, it breaks.
All right,
It might be me.
It's just going to have to be
Equipment. Well, hello everybody. Welcome back if you were with us yesterday. If not, we did start this yesterday for the first time, wanting to reach out especially to you kids out there. I normally am guiding kids tours when I'm here at Big Cat Rescue, but obviously we are not giving tours at this moment, so for the foreseeable future we will not be. So this is another way for us to be able to reach out to you and share with you the cats and answer questions you have and hopefully educate you and just break the monotony a little bit for you from whatever you've been working on up to this point.
So who are you going to go see?
I think we should start with Zookhari if we can get him to make an appearance.
And just don't cover the camera.
Sorry. Hi, Jen. Getting lots of hellos from everybody. Hello, Elijah. I think I'm saying that right. Edith. Give you a view of the sanctuary as we drive here. So normally the tour goes at a walking pace, not a driving pace. So this is a little different. No, it's fine. Oh, there he is. He's under his platform. So yay, we get to see Mr. Zookhari. And do you want to do the holding?
And we need to get all this wire
Hello.
so that we're not.
Hello there. Something new and exciting is happening. You're not sure what. So this is Zookhari, and Zookhari is an African serval. That's a very unique species of wild cat. Some of you may not have heard of a serval before today, so about this beautiful cat. They are native to Africa, as I mentioned, and when I look at them, think of this silhouette in Egyptian hieroglyphics. If you think of those long front legs and those tall ears, you'll kind of get an idea of what a serval looks like. They have spots and stripes, long legs, ears. They are exceptional predators. They catch 50% of what they hunt in the wild. A lion catches about 10%. So of course, somebody had this great idea that they should be house pets. That makes total sense, right? No, not at all. Even though they're small, like about the size of a medium dog, it is probably equally as dangerous as having a tiger or lion, perhaps more so, because they have to be so aggressive to make up for their small size.
He says, thank you, I agree with that.
Hello, Zookhari. You're a sweetheart. Zookhari's a young guy, about 5 years old. Zookhari came to us from Ohio, which happens to be my home state. And he is here because Ohio has such very good regulations. And he was being kept by a breeder. And here's another term that you might not be familiar with, called a savanna cat. A savanna cat is a hybrid. That means it is a mixture of a serval and a domestic cat. And why this person had Zookhari and other cats as well was to try to breed those hybrid cats. And somebody was smart and figured that even though savanna cats are still legal there, that at some point you had to have a serval in order to make that happen. So there was a surprise visit, and we received Zookhari and also 2 caracals. And maybe we'll visit the caracals today too, since we're on the subject with Zookhari. You're just so handsome. So Zookhari has a really enclosure. We will maybe give you a sense of that here in a moment. Walk that. Seeing one section of it right now. It extends, I'm not even sure exactly how, I don't know the square footage, but it extends quite a ways because he is fairly young and he's very active.
I think he's got 4 cages, so that'd be about 4,800 square
4,800 square feet, I'm getting told. So
4 times the house I live in.
yeah, I don't have 4,800 square feet, and I'm doing pretty well, and I have another person and 2 cats, so there you go. And Zookhari is very curious. He likes to catch all sorts of things that make their way into his domain. Frogs, lizards, snakes, all sorts of things. So he's a curious fellow. But yeah, people think these are good pets to have in their house. And they will spray everything. They will not use the litter box.
Spray with what?
With urine, yeah. Because that's how they...
Yeah,
that's how they mark their territory in the wild. And they're not thinking, I'm going to go use that litter box like your house cat. They, unless you have them declawed, which unfortunately people do that, but even if they are declawed, they still have teeth, and they're still very strong, very aggressive, and they're really good at jumping and catching birds. So if you have a ceiling fan, what do you think your serval thinks that looks like? Yeah, it looks a lot like a bird that they want to jump up and destroy. So he's testing out a little bit of plant life there. Now, don't be fooled by his demeanor right now. I have seen Zookhari on the feeding tour, and he is very food motivated, shall we say. So he can get quite grabby. He can reach those paws through the cage wire and jump a bit, so that feeding is done very carefully. And maybe as we walk down in a little bit, we'll get a look at his feeding lockout. Actually, the one they feed him in is right over here. Now that I think about it, it's not on the up.
I cannot get a camera that close to him because he will be jumping at the camera.
I'm being a good boy today. You're being a little more chill today, huh? He says, but you're going to that lockout. What does that mean? So you'll see he has a water dish, and he has this concrete slab. That's where the food is placed. So what the keeper has to do, there is a guillotine door here. That is also what sections off the rooms in the bubbles that the cats have. They have several sections, so they're not just in one section all the time. And you can see that this can be safely raised and lowered from outside the enclosure. That's one thing you need to know about Big Cat Rescue. We don't touch these cats. We don't go in the enclosure with the cats. It's not safe for us. It's not good for them. It's just not what we believe in, and it also makes us an accredited sanctuary. There are 5 things we have to follow in order to stay accredited. We don't buy, sell, or trade our cats, we don't touch them, and we don't breed them. Breed is another word for reproduce. So we don't let them have babies here. So back to Zookhari. The keeper's going to stand like this and drop that food down on that concrete slab. But this door is going to be shut while that's going on, because otherwise, Zookhari, as I mentioned, he can reach pretty well, and he's jumping up and down, and he's getting very excited about breakfast. So that keeps everybody safe, and then once that's done, then the keeper can raise that door and let him in for breakfast.
Can you explain the mesh, the
okay.
water bowl? And people ask me all the time.
Yeah, that's awesome. So the water bowl is raised, and also this slab right here is protecting the water bowl. That's to keep debris out and also to help slow evaporation, because we know that white reflects light instead of absorbing like black. And this right here just basically keeps the unwelcome out to get at the food or the water, the unwelcome visitors. Did that answer your question?
A lot of people ask me why we feed on a stone slab instead of out of bowls. I don't know if you know that.
I would guess that it's probably easier to keep clean. And it doesn't. Well, that too. Yeah, they don't take the bowl somewhere. That's true. Good point.
They take them all in the bins.
That makes absolute sense. So these do get cleaned every day, the water dish as well as the slab. And the reason we feed them in this lockout is every day they get fed, and this allows the person feeding them to see, are they eating everything? Did they leave something behind? Did they act funny when they were eating? Did they chew funny? Anything at all like that that they need to be concerned about, and then that gets logged, and the keepers will come back around, the feeders, and they will make sure if there's any food left. So everybody will get fed, and then they'll come around and do that checkup after feeding and make sure it's all right. And then once they've made sure that the cat has indeed eaten, then that's when the cleaning happens. Also, poop happens, because if you eat, it's going to come out, right? So we might, probably at this time of day, we will not see anybody cleaning, but they have very long poles that have hooks on the end. It's called a scraper pole. And that way they can safely put that pole through this cage wire into the enclosure and scrape things over so that they can reach in with barbecue tongs. I'm not going to even put my hand in there. I'm just going to go like this and give you the idea, because that is not a safe thing to do. And then they'll use those barbecue tongs to pick up whatever. Usually it's poop. It can also be some other kind of debris that might have gotten in the enclosure that we don't want to leave in there.
Diana wants to know why the water bowls are up that high.
Well, I assume it keeps other things from getting in there. Plus, we want them to be able to reach it naturally at a comfortable level, I would think.
And in the wild, these cats pee in streams and rivers so that the prey animals don't know that they live there. So the first thing they do when we clean a water bowl is pee in it, unless we put it up above their tails.
Oh, see, I learned something today. There you go. That makes perfect sense. Zookhari is still monitoring what we're talking about over here.
Just in case there comes to be
so
in that poop.
You never know. You don't want to get too far from the lockout, just in case, right? So I'm curious, let's walk a little bit and see if he decides to follow us. I'm going to see if you're going to get up. Oh, that was good. Did everybody see that hiss?
Oh, I didn't.
He just gave us a classic hiss. Are you going to do another one? Another hiss for us? So a serval will hiss like that. That's pretty classic. That's the serval's way of saying, don't mess with me. I may be small, but I mean business. I'll point out he's got a couple of permanent enrichment in there in the form of those balls. Just like you give toys at home to play with, right? It helps to keep him stimulated and keeps him from getting bored.
Inside those dens are 8 feet by 12 feet and about 2 feet high, so they're covered in ferns and dirt to keep them cool in the summer and warmer in the winter.
He's not going to take the bait.
It's too hot.
But if you look all the way this direction, it continues even past, if you can see that orange sign, it's just that last bubble there. That's still his enclosure.
4 dens there,
yeah.
So it's all 4 of those.
Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go.
That you can't see.
So he has quite a nice home. Poor Zookhari, he had half a garage before he came to us. Probably never felt grass, probably never spent any time outside. We're back. Nope, not gonna follow us, are you? No, not today. Not today. Not happening. Yeah. Yeah, those are some upper level keepers too, so they might have some good food. All right, I saw Ginger in her ferns just a little bit ago, so we might catch her in the same spot. Bye, Zookhari. So still Zookhari land. All the way. I love that sign.
Zoom in on
The ancients worship cats. Cats have not forgotten this. It is so true.
What's your location?
You can see this is all serval row along here. We call it that because this is where all our servals enclosures are. And unfortunately, we have a lot of servals because she moved, are kept as pets and also used for breeding. Now, Ginger came from a really, I don't even know what kind of a name to give the place that Ginger came from. It's two generous to call it a zoo, and they certainly weren't kept as pets, but she kept with other cats. We had 2 lynx here. Some of you might remember Apollo, and what was Apollo's, his name just went on my head.
Are you thinking about the cat she came with?
The lynxes.
That was Gilligan and Skipper.
Gilligan and Skipper, thank you. Why did I say Apollo? I know better than
You
that.
live next door.
Yeah, Apollo was next door. So Gilligan and Skipper, and also bobcats, Marianne, Lovey, and Thurston. So I should have remembered that Apollo is not a Gilligan's Island name at all. So they did get names when they arrived here at Big Cat Rescue from that show Gilligan's Island. And if you know that TV show, Ginger was the movie star. And she's very beautiful, Serval. Oh, she gave us a good hiss. A good hiss today, yes. So as I mentioned, this place that they were rescued from in Kansas, it was pretty awful conditions that the cats were living in. Dirty, not protected from the elements, not fed properly. The people that were involved there doing other illegal things besides owning exotic cats, so just not a good situation at all. This is one of Ginger's favorite spots. She likes to be in these ferns here. But you notice what a good job she does of camouflaging, using that natural coat that she has to hide out there and hope that nobody sees her. Of course, cats use camouflage in the wild for the same reason. They want to be able to sneak up and get close to their prey without being seen. Are there any questions about servals coming in?
They were asking about wish list items to Deb. Melissa says, Kathy, feel better soon. I must have missed some conversation about Kathy not feeling good. Karen says, Ginger girl with the hearts.
So this is a very peaceful time of day here at the sanctuary. Everybody's been fed. It's a little warm, but there is a breeze every once in a while. So it's a nice relaxing time for the cats.
Ellen says, so happy she recovered from her recent surgery.
Oh, yes. Yes, so those of you that don't know, Ginger did have a broken leg. We believe, did we ever find out for sure? We just think that she jumped from her platform badly.
Or was chasing a bird, or goodness knows.
Yeah, hard to say. Doing some kind of activity that got her in that situation. So I understand that it still bears her scent in the time that she spent in recovery.
Yes. Oh, that room is wretched. We have run, every kind of sanitizer through there. We've got one of those, industrial size, what do they call those, air purifiers?
Right.
Nothing can get that smell of her out of there. It's I can't believe people want to live with these cats.
I know. It's amazing.
And that, the hospital is made to be wiped down, and it's all slick surfaces. Imagine your couch and your curtains. And your rugs.
That's just awful.
Ugh.
And of course, cats have such strong urine because they need to be able to mark their territory, and it needs to last. So there is a purpose for it, just not in your house.
Rick wants to know what their diets consist of.
Servals, and just in the wild or here at Big Cat Rescue? Clarify that.
Paula also said, what do they eat and how much?
So here at Big Cat Rescue, I just actually did my second day of food prep today, and I was introduced to whole prey today, which I understand. Cats are obligate carnivores, and I know that that's what they need to have. I myself am vegetarian, so it was a little bit hard to handle that first rabbit today that I had to put in a container. But they do get whole prey twice a week. It's either rabbits or rats or chicks. And did I do Ginger today? I'm trying to remember, forgive me, I did a lot of cats today. But they also get that supplemented with, sometimes it's red meat, sometimes it's turkey or chicken. I know one of the Servals had some fish fillets.
Do you know roughly how much poundage?
I want to say it was between like 10 and 12 ounces for the smaller cats.
What is the difference between servals and savanna cats from Daniel?
Oh, so that's a very good question. The difference is that a savanna cat is a hybrid. It is a serval and a domestic cat who have been bred together. And again, they're very sought after as pets. People pay a lot of money for them. But just because that domestic cat has been bred with them doesn't mean that the wild DNA goes away. There are claims that 4 or 5 generations later they're domesticated, but even then you still have the wild DNA. And that's going to be present no matter what.
People are asking if they get live prey.
They do not get live. It is whole prey, but it is, my understanding is, like people who have snakes as pets, it'd be a similar to what they would give their snakes. So these cats don't know anything about moving food. They've all been kept in captivity, and that means that they have not been living in the wild and hunting for their own food ever. So the idea that food moves or has to be chased is just not something that they relate to. They will do natural behaviors. They will pounce, they will stalk, they will do those things naturally, just because that's how they're hardwired. It's what their DNA is telling them to do, but it ultimately ends up in just something that's played with and quite possibly passes away from being played with so much, but not so much for food.
Ellen says she really enjoys this and she's an adult.
Oh, good. Hey, adults can learn too. Yeah, this is not just for kids. She looks so beautiful back there.
Everybody's commenting on the fact that she's just totally zonked out.
She is just loving life right now.
Rachel says you can't take the wild out of the wild. Absolutely.
Yes, that's very true.
And I think Edith is responding to someone saying that we are a no-touch facility, so they must be asking if we pet them.
We do not pet them. And we do also have many of those hybrid cats here as well, because they did not turn out to make good pets.
Corin is saying, if you're against having cats in cages, why do you have cats in cages?
That is an excellent question. The reason being, where they've been rescued from, let's take Ginger for instance, the place that she was kept in. What would we do? We would have to take her back to Africa because she's not native to Kansas or to Florida. What habitat would we find for her? And she has no idea how to behave in the wild. Cats stay with their mothers. Most mammals stay with their mothers for at least 2 years. Humans, sometimes it's 26. But all the other mammals, they stay with their mothers for about 2 years to nurse and to also learn how to survive in the wild. If you're missing that step, it's that critical learning phase, just like it is for children. That developmental stage is missed, and there's no way to replace that or to go back and reteach that. And we're running out of habitat. That's probably the number one reason why so many cats are endangered, is there's just less world for them to live in.
And she wasn't born in Africa,
no.
So they wouldn't allow her to
exactly.
be released.
And that
she's
too.
Born here in the U.S., she's an illegal immigrant.
She'd be she would not be allowed to cross the border. No passport.
That's why we don't bred for life in cages. There's just no excuse for caging up an animal like her.
So really, we are a retirement home for these cats. We rescue them. We make their life the best that it can possibly be in captivity until they're not with us anymore. Because
She just needs to get behind the fern there.
we got a good hiss. Got a good hiss, Ginger.
I saw somebody asking if they can swim, but they were also talking about tigers, so I don't know which cats they meant.
Tigers, yes. I don't believe servals are swimmers. Maybe you know better than I, Carol.
They're actually referred to as reed cats
Reed.
because they hunt along the riverbed banks,
So,
but they're not
lot close to
swimmers.
water, yeah.
They wade out into the water and smack a fish.
But tigers love to swim. Hopefully later this week, if we get really lucky, we'll get to see some swimming tigers. That would be wonderful. It's certainly warm enough, you would think they might decide to go for a swim.
It's like, it is so hard to nap with you guys right next to me.
Like, can I find a quiet spot? Have you had enough of us, Ginger? Should we move on?
That's the classic Egyptian
Yep, there she goes.
image. And these are the cats that you see in the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. I always thought they didn't know how to draw cats because they put these big old ears on the top of them, and I thought they were trying to draw a cheetah until I learned about Serval. And it's like, oh, those are the cats that they were.
Oh, we're getting good hisses. Yeah, she's not happy with us right now. Sorry, Miss Ginger. You're doing such a nice job posing. Up, something of interest. Oh, now that's funny. It is interesting how these cats, and even the big cats, tigers and lions, they do have behaviors that look very much like your domestic cat. We have a toy just like that, much smaller, in the kitten cabana. They bat the ball around, so. But even though those behaviors are shared, it doesn't mean that they can be pets. Oh, she's enjoying that. So we have various types of enrichment for the cats to keep them happy, besides permanent enrichment like this toy. They also get spice bags and perfume tubes. And we give them seasonal enrichment. In October, we give them pumpkins. Now, they don't eat the pumpkin, they just tear it up and chew it and have a good time with it. We give them whole turkeys in November for Thanksgiving, but not cooked, of course, because that is not good for the cat, to make the bones brittle. And they don't cook their food. They wouldn't be doing that in the wild, so it's not good for them here. And they especially love their pine trees in December for the Christmas holiday. Love the way it smells. Pine is a very strong scent, and the cats are very scent stimulated. Now, do you happen to know what Ginger's favorite spice? I would say ginger.
I have no idea.
You know, that would be nice if ginger was her favorite spice, but I don't know if that's true.
I don't know. Somebody on here probably does know what her favorite spice is or her favorite scent. Did you talk about the fact that their cages are roofed and why?
Oh, no, I did not mention that. So yes, all the enclosures that you're going to see, we have, unless we get to a tiger, are going to be roofed. And that is because all of these cats can climb and jump. And we also have roof sections for our tigers and our lioness because in case of high winds or storms, we need to move them into a safe place where they won't get falling tree branches, either to hurt them or to provide an escape route, one or the other.
She just went through a tunnel to a separate cage, so that's how our cages are built, is in separate sections that are joined by tunnels, and so she's got 3, I think now. These 2 up front plus 1 in the back. Each one is 1,200 square feet.
She says, "Why are you following me?" Because you're so beautiful, that's why. We can't help it. We have a great couple here at Big Cat Rescue, volunteers that build these wooden platforms that you see for all the cats. And you can imagine that Florida weather is very hard on wood. So that does have to be done at a pretty regular time period. So we're very fortunate to have mostly volunteers here at Big Cat Rescue. Besides myself, we have, I don't know, I think we're close to at least 80 volunteers, maybe more. I'm not sure what the latest number.
80 and
Yeah.
100.
And everybody that feeds the cats and cleans the cats, that direct care of the cats, that all that work is done by volunteers. When you come and take a tour, whenever that's possible, that work will be done by volunteers. Anybody see in the gift shop. So that really keeps our overhead down, and that enables us to run this sanctuary in such a way that it benefits the cats and not people. And that's how it should be. So we're very fortunate to have them. Do you want to see Hutch? Are you at Hutch?
See a bird and it's walking out.
I always think servals are really good at camouflage. I've always really have to look for them.
And you wouldn't think a bright yellow cat could hide
Right.
in a green and brown environment.
But they're really, really good at it. Well, I don't see him.
We still got more cage over there, I think.
See, this is a treat for me, everybody, because the level of volunteer that I am, and because I'm on the partner side rather than the keeper side. Partner side means that I am giving tours, guiding tours, and doing outreach work out in the community because I'm an educator. That's really where my passion is. But I'm getting a little taste of the keeper side while we have this downtime by learning food prep and some other sides of the sanctuary. But as this level of intern I am and not being a keeper, which means not doing the cleaning and the feeding, I don't ever go past this barricade. I'm just like you would be on a tour. I have to stay on that side of it when I walk the property. So I don't always know where all of these places are.
See, there's another tunnel there, so he can go over into this section. So this is like 2 sections for him so far.
Yeah,
And he can go into that third one.
right.
There.
And then we get into Mouser. Over there.
The platform back there.
Ah,
So
look
maybe
at you.
Go around.
We go all around. Right? Okay, we found him.
And this might be a good place to stop with Mouser and explain the difference between them.
Ooh, yes. Hi, Mouser. Wow, that was great timing, Mouser. Thank you for that. So, as you look at Mouser, you can see those markings that he looks very similar to a serval. So he is a really good example of that hybrid that we talked about earlier, that combination of serval and domestic cat. You can hear his meow sounds like a domestic cat. He's not as big as the other servals that you've seen, but he is not meant to be a pet for those reasons that we stated before. He's going to still have that wild DNA. He's not going to want to digest domestic cat food. He's not going to use the litter box. Was he declawed?
I don't remember, but he's kind of scruffy looking, and it's because I think he's like over 19 years old, which would like be over 110, I believe, if he were a human. So that's why he looks the way he does.
And I believe he was taken out quite a bit in the public interaction as well, right, on a leash. So they came to us from California. Master came with 3 bobcats, Shiloh, Filmo, and Tom Tom. So our volunteers flew out there, rented a van, packed them up, and drove back to Florida. So they're the most recent residents here. And even though he did have that public interaction in his former life, he seems perfectly content to be in this enclosure on his own, not missing that. Yeah, that profile you can really see. He's got that serval legs in the front.
The stripes on his tail and his necklaces.
I think the funniest story was when he first arrived here. Funcation is right across from his enclosure, And that is a very large enclosure that I call timeshare for cats. And we rotate the cats every 2 weeks. So it was Manny, our jaguar, who was on vacation when this little guy arrived. And this den here, it had to get turned around so that he didn't have to see a jaguar staring at him. It was pretty intimidating for this poor little guy. I've noticed that the hybrids like to chew that grass a lot too. Beecher does the same thing. Yeah, and I believe they have a lot of digestive problems because of that hybridization. Yeah, you can see.
Did he get tired of us talking and leave?
No, he's back there. She said, I thought you were coming to talk to me. What happened? Say, what happened? I've been waiting. It's like a whole new world back here.
You'll give me some lead. I'll put the camera through back here.
Okay.
So you're both in the...
There you go.
Oh, you don't need that touch.
No, no, no. I know, it looks very interesting, right? It looks like one of those black racers except skinny. Yeah. Hutch was also a pet before he arrived here, so that's the pretty common story of servals arriving at Big Cat Rescue. And if a person decides that they don't want their serval anymore, they have to sign an agreement to promise to never get another license for an exotic cat and never to buy another exotic cat as a pet. That's really important because we could fill this sanctuary with hybrids and servals that people didn't want anymore because they were getting old or inconvenient or whatever it might be, and that would be all we would do. And then those people could turn around and just get cubs and start all over again. And we certainly don't want to be part of that cycle. That's something we never want to do. Are you being sneaky? Do you think we can't see you?
I can see your spot.
What? So Hutch is young-ish. I think he's 10, something like that. I don't think he's much older.
I don't know what happened with our comments. All of a sudden it's saying who's watching, but it's not showing me what you guys are saying.
Oh no.
It's so bizarre.
Oh, what did you find? What do you have? Do you have a lizard? No. Just had something. Just something. It's very peaceful back here.
I don't know if you could hear it earlier, but there was a bird mimicking a serval, and they freak me out all the time because we have a bird here called the mockingjay.
Right.
And it can do servals and bobcats like nobody's business.
Really?
And I'll hear those cats in places they're not supposed to be, and so I'll always be walking
No
around
kidding.
like, where is that cat? Is there somebody out? And then I'll see the bird, it's like, oh, it's you. But they do such a great job. And like that kitten noise, like domestic cat
Right.
kittens, oh, they are so good at that sound.
I did not know that.
It used to be worse when we had the screens instead of the
Right.
glass windows because they could hear kittens all the
Oh,
time.
oh,
and then
right,
they would
right,
repeat that everywhere.
right. That's amazing. Well, Hutch, you're being pretty calm here. Didn't even get a hiss.
We might be able to cut
Alethea?
through here. Yeah, to
Okay.
Alethea.
Mouser says, where'd you go? Where'd you go? I was being so cute. Why'd you leave? Yeah, Alethea is an interesting story.
And this is all her cage on the left of us here. We'll go around it looking for her. Ooh, you better run, Mr.
I was going to
Squirrel.
say, a squirrel's taking a chance on that coolaroo.
That's definitely the way. I apologize, everybody, for just being so jerky. My visualizer is just...
Hello again, Mouser. So now I'm getting a sense, Carol, of when people who are training to do cleaning talk about getting stuck.
The kill me spot.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
the kill me spot.
Because this is very narrow, yeah. And if a cat reaches through, yeah.
In some places, we actually have to put like chicken wire so they can't get the deep freeze that
Ah. We're kind of sharing a tour together today, my friends out there, because I'm exploring new territory with you.
Master's still following us on this side.
Hello, pretty girl. This is Alethea. Oh, classic hiss. So Alethea was a pet, and the HOA decided she wasn't a good idea in the neighborhood. That's why she ended up here with us. You can imagine going for a walk and having your neighbor have a serval on a leash coming your way.
And like most people that had gotten there as a kitten, that worked for a while, but then they moved her out to the garage because they started spraying on everything.
You're a pretty girl too. So the moral of this story today with servals and hybrids is they don't make good pets. So if you don't learn anything else today, that's an important message.
Did you talk about flashes?
We did not, but yes, those flashes on the back of her ears, that is to communicate with the cubs in the wild. It's like, follow me. Also, it's imitating eyes. And a lot of animals, not just cats, have those. They'll have different kinds of false eyes, and that makes it seem like the cat is facing rather than away from whatever's behind it. She's got like that pink stripe right down the middle of her nose, too.
It's one of the ways the servals are, how you can tell them apart is different cats have
Yeah.
different either patterns or stripes or spots or completely pink or completely black.
She's showing off her enclosure as well. So there is a reason why the enclosures are shaped the way they are, why they're round instead of having square walls like you would have in your house. That allows the air to flow through. It's an aerodynamic design because we get hurricanes in Florida and strong winds. And that allows these structures to be very secure during a storm. They are quite reinforced. All this wire that you see, this cage wire, is very thick. Cats can't bite through it, especially Manny. We haven't met yet, but if you see Manny, you'll understand why we need to have that, to not be bitten through. And so this keeps the cats safe, and it keeps them from getting loose, which of course would not be a good thing for them or for us. There was an incident in Ohio, where I'm from, in 2011, where about 56, mostly lions and tigers, were set loose. And it was a very sad situation because unfortunately first responders didn't have much choice but to protect the people that were in the area. So most of those cats had to be killed. And as a result of that, Ohio has very, very strict regulations regarding ownership and breeding of exotics. So that's one state. Unfortunately, we have 50 states and we have U.S. territories, and they all don't do the same thing. They don't all play by the same rules. So something that you can do to help us and to help the cats is to make the call of the wild. We have something, oh yes, the call of the wild, or if you're a serval, like that. So it's very easy to do. You text cats to 52886, and don't worry if you don't have like pen and paper handy, you can go to our website and you can check that out as well. You're going to text that cats to 52886. You're going to put your name, address, zip code, and telephone number, and you're going to be connected immediately to your 2 senators and your state rep based on your zip code. And why this is important, this is a single piece of federal legislation. So this would make it consistent across all 50 states and U.S. territories. And that would go a long way to preventing a lot of the abuses and a lot of the, moving cats across state lines, selling across state lines, all those things that are currently happening right now. And most specifically, owning exotic cats and especially cub breeding. The number one reason that there are so many tigers in captivity right now is because people want to pay to pet a tiger cub or have an interaction with a tiger cub or take a picture with a tiger cub. And that just creates such a demand for breeding that it's just unbelievable. Unfortunately, the state we're in, Florida, is one of the highest for private ownership of tigers and breeding. So if you could make that call of the wild for the cats, that would be wonderful. This is year 4. We're hearing Nikita right now, the lioness in the background. She's saying, make the call of the wild. Thank you. But if you would do that, this is year 4. We have a lot of good momentum this year, hoping this is the year that it gets finally to the floor for a vote. So people like you will help us, will help the cats. Those phone calls are important. They listen. So don't forget to say your zip code. They want to hear from voters. That's what matters. Yeah. All right. Well, I don't think we're going to get anything else out of these servals. So do we have time to move on to somebody else? All right.
I'll follow wherever you want to walk.
Let's see. I did have already a nice moment with Jinx today, so should we go see what Nikita's doing maybe, since she was just roaring?
There's a gate right there.
Oh, you okay to do that? Yeah.
Take us 20 minutes to get back to the golf cart.
Now, I realize that I'm doing a little species shift here. Nikita, as you will see, is definitely not a serval.
She's different in every way. They are long and lean. She is tall.
She is fluffy. She is fluffy. So we'll go ahead and say hi to Armani as we walk by, our beautiful leopard.
Ah! I turned the camera around on us. Didn't mean to do that. Sorry, everybody.
I notice it's like Armani meteorology. When it starts to get really warm, she likes to sit on that dirt mound. She spends time down here when it's cooler. And she has a very cute enrichment over here. I left over from St. Patrick's Day. Looks like she got a rainbow. Yeah, she's very ladylike. So that's another form of enrichment for the cats that our volunteers make. And our volunteers obviously are the ones that are having fun because the cats don't know what holiday it is or what season. But it does make for really cute videos and pictures. So they have a lot of fun doing that. And the cats have fun tearing them up. It looks like Natalia's up on her platform. She is our Amur leopard, which is a very highly endangered species right now. Natalia also not a super big fan of this hot weather. Her species, naturally she would be living in a region where it's cold and it snows, the Amur region, so that's northern China bordering Russia. So she's a little bit fluffier than Armani. Armani would be an African leopard.
And if you guys can hear that, she's got an air conditioner in the den.
Yeah, but yeah, by the time it gets to be, give her about another month and she won't be so happy to be out. So we're making our way to Nikita. And the reason Nikita has her own special spot, kind of away from all the other cats, is because of how she started out life. She was in an awful situation as a cub. She was chained up in the wall of a crack house, and the owner declawed her. So she really never had the opportunity to learn how to be a lion or to know she's a lion. And so when she was rescued, there was an attempt made to introduce her to lions at a zoo, because lions are the only cats that are somewhat social and live in groups. But because she didn't have claws and she didn't have that early experience, it just terrified her. So we keep her happy back here. She's happy and stress-free, living back. Oh, she's watching us. Pretty girl. Now you can check out Nikita a lot because we have a camera in her enclosure at explore.org. Oh, I keep forgetting I'm allowed to do this. I'm so well trained.
All the rules.
I'm so well trained. Like, no, I can't go there. So this camera here is attached to explore.org, and that is a website that has 24/7 live feeds all around the world. We have many cameras here at Big Cat Rescue attached to that, and one of them's Nikita.
Suzanne is watching right now. She's one of the camera
Yay.
operators.
Oh, hello. Well, thank you for that.
Watch you putting through all of this.
Hello, Queen.
Hi.
Hello. Hello, Queen. How are you? Oh. Hello, sweet girl. She said, wait, you never come back here. What are you doing back here?
I brought you a new friend. She sings.
Yeah. Ha, Savannah. I'll sing you the Circle of Life one day, okay?
What's your theme song?
Or maybe she'd prefer Can You Feel the Love Tonight. We'll try that one. Yeah. I think you'd like that one better. Yeah. How it suits you. I'm just always amazed at how big she is. Yeah.
When you're this close to her.
Exactly.
Like, oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
she is really a big girl. And again, this is captivity versus nature. This is a really good example because a lioness would not get this big living in the wild. But that's because the lioness is the one that goes out and hunts. And you know, the male lion sleeps like 23 hours out of the day. And so it's the females that are out there doing that work. So she would be ranging over miles of territory and gorge eating, meaning that they would catch something, eat, maybe not catch something for a few days. So she gets fed regularly.
Although she would like to gorge every day.
Yes, she would. Oh my goodness. Look at you. This is such a treat. You're a beautiful girl. Yes, you are. You're just beautiful. Look at that tongue.
All the better for licking the flesh off your bones.
Exactly. So that raspy kitty tongue that your house cats have, the big cats have, but that is raspy like razors. Because that way they can take the flesh off the bones of their prey. So, oh, you're going to get a roll? Are we going to get a roll? So you'll notice that she has those really fluffy paws, and unfortunately that's from that decline.
And I apologize, everybody who might be commenting. I'm only seeing from Facebook who is watching and your hearts and your likes. I can't see any comments, and I've touched on the comment bar at the bottom and the plus thing at the bottom, and nothing is bringing it back. Not ignoring you.
Well, sorry about that. If you have questions, sorry.
I'm hoping there are people online that are answering your questions if you're having them, that can see them. I had ant or something in my bra.
Oh, whoops.
Like, jerking around here.
Oh, sweet girl.
Can you see your face? Can you see your face? And this is what she's going to do for the next several hours.
Right. Nikita is 19 years old now. Just celebrated a birthday, and that's quite an age for a lion. In the wild, it would be more like 10 to 12 years. So I like to say it's quantity versus quality, though. I'm sure most of these cats would rather have less time and live in the wild than have an extended life in captivity. So.
And the way you know that for sure is if we were to ever leave the door open, they would walk away
Exactly.
and never come back. They would show us their preference.
Yeah, sweet girl. All right, so now
Drag you away.
now you know why she's back here on her own. So
I get the feeling you just sit there and watch her nap for hours if you could.
So a good time to check her out is in the morning when she's getting fed, if you want to see a little more activity than what you saw today.
And since we're closed to the public right now, what Brittany is doing is in the morning, she's going to go out every morning as they hand out the morning meds and then follow right on that with the morning feeding. So you guys will be getting what usually is our feeding
Did I miss
tour,
the gate?
hopefully every morning that she's here.
I forget which way. Oh, it's that way. That's right.
Well, no, right here.
Ah. See?
Cleverly disguised as a bush.
That is a good idea. Keeps people from wandering. Maybe the caracals?
Sure.
Could see if they're out.
And their gate is right here with this red sign if we want to go in there.
There we go. All right. I'm going to let you go since you have that. Sorry for the dead airspace, everybody. We're making our way back, hopefully to see the caracals. And these two were rescued with Zookhari from the same breeder in Ohio. There's a male and a female. They were kept together in Ohio, but as soon as they got here, is their preference not to be together.
We spayed and neutered them and tried to reintroduce them, and she said, no way, Jack.
I am done. So Cyrus is the male and Chaos is the female.
And I was thinking she'd be on the platform.
I know.
She usually is.
We are caracal-less.
And I think we're about to run out of runway here.
Oh, okay. Do we need to turn?
Yeah, because this
Okay.
tunnel connects them.
Right, right. All right, we're going to do an about face.
This is what the keepers go through every morning. They have to actually get their eyes on the cat, and then they have to spot the poop in all of this space.
That must be an amazing process.
They have to
Really?
know the cats really well. Like
Yeah.
who covers it and leaves and who doesn't. And
Exactly. And
where
we
their favorite
get
places
this
are.
way. And I imagine that the cats are kind of habitual, just like most animals are when it comes to that. And they have their favorite ways of hiding it or burying it or whatever they do. I was hoping maybe. All right, nothing there.
Those are the two favorite spots, and they weren't in either one of them.
Do we walk this way or go back out? Okay. I tell you, I'm going to know so much about Big Cat Rescue by the time we get through with this whole shutdown. There is a silver lining.
My guess is if we haven't seen him so far, he's probably in that front end.
Right,
We like that spot a lot because you can see her from there.
right. This one here, yeah. Yeah, that's usually where I see him if we get to see him.
Are you in there?
No, siree.
Oh my
Fooling us.
Missing caracals.
Where are you? Oh, they also can go, they have that, oh, look, they're being stalked. Hello, beautiful. Hello. We're getting,
Your radio.
there we go.
I hope you guys are enjoying this clown show.
It's like, instead of where's Waldo, it's where's the caracal. Hello,
You guys
beautiful.
see her there?
So this is Chaos. It's the female. Caracals are very interesting looking cats. They have those really prominent ears. And what they are especially known for is being able to catch birds. Multiple birds from one leap up in the air and back again. Unfortunately, Cyrus and Chaos lived in that same situation as Zookhari when they were in Ohio. So very minimal space, not much outdoor space or a chance to be in grass. And really not happy to be forced to be bred. You're just sitting so still. I hope everybody's enjoying this view. She's doing a nice job posing right now. And I would ask if anybody's ever seen or heard of a caracal before, if we could answer questions.
Sorry.
But we'll skip that for today.
Apparently Facebook has rationed our comments. Our comment viewing.
That's the nature of the times we live in. Yeah, the unexpected is the new normal, right? We live in this age of uncertain times. Hopefully you young people out there watching that are out of school are enjoying this today and having a little break from whatever you've been working on. I think most of you probably are finished with spring break as of today. I'm sure your spring break was a little different than you had planned it to be, but hopefully you have made the best of it and found some good time to be with family and get back to basics, as we like to say. So we will be doing this again as long as I'm allowed to leave the house. We're planning on this. So hopefully we will see you again soon. And tomorrow at 2 o'clock.
Great.
We will be here. So in the meantime, have a perfectly great day.
Thank you, everybody.